So I just had a coaching call with a business owner who recently hit a record month. It was the most money he's ever made. But when he shared this with me, he followed it up with a single word that completely negated the huge accomplishment that he had. So what was this word? Well, let me share a brief story that helps illustrate the point. So imagine I'm going out to dinner with my wife. She is fully dressed up and she looks amazing. And I say, babe, you look so good. You look so beautiful, but can you imagine if I said all that and then I finished it with but? Do you think that she heard anything I had to say? Of course not. Anytime you say anything and you finish it with the word but, it completely takes away anything you just said. So this business owner shares with me that he just made the most money that he's ever made. This is a goal that has been on his to-do list for years, and he finally achieved it. Except that when he finally shared it, immediately after sharing this amazing news, he said, but. It went something like, I've made the most money I've ever made, but. Then he started listing out everything that went wrong, or at least from his viewpoint that went wrong. The stress, the missed time with family, the exhaustion, and those were just a few of the things. And here's the thing, this is not an isolated case. This is a pattern that I see all too often with successful entrepreneurs. In fact, this is something that I've also struggled with too. You hit a huge milestone, and instead of celebrating it, you focus on everything that didn't work out or that wasn't perfect. So the question is, why do we do this? So here's the thing, there's actually some science behind this. It's called a negative bias. Our brains are wired to pay more attention to all the negative experiences, all the negative junk we've gone through than the positive ones. Because if you think about it, our ancestors, they had to remember all the dangers that could have happened to them. Things like which berries are poisonous or going to give them diarrhea, or which predator is lurking out there going to attack them. Is it a T-Rex? Is it a lion? Is it a bear? Oh my. Bottom line is that it helped them stay alive. But here's the problem in today's world is that a negative bias can actually hurt us. Because instead of being chased by predators, now we're chasing success, and no matter how hard or how fast we chase it, we're never going to feel satisfied or fulfilled. Because our brains want to fixate on what's wrong, what didn't work out, what didn't go perfectly, or what could be a potential threat in the future. So now that we know that this mental trap exists, how do we overcome it? Well, we can do that in 3 easy steps. Step 1 is to celebrate first what we call the gain mindset. In Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, she actually refers to this as the growth mindset. This is where you're focusing on the distance between where you want to be and where you are now. Where it makes sense for me that instead of focusing on the end goal, you focus on the progress that you've made. So let's say, for example, that you're trying to lose 20 pounds in 3 months. 90 days goes by, and you only lose 17, do you feel like a failure? Well, you started at X, you lost 17 pounds. Sure, you missed your goal at 20, but you still made tremendous progress. What often happens is that we set unrealistic expectations on what we can achieve in the amount of time that we've given us. And most of the time, we're setting ourselves up for failure. So instead of focusing on some big goal that we're probably not going to reach because we're not superhuman, we focus on the process. We focus on the progress. We focus on the results that we have accomplished. When you focus on the gain, you're reinforcing positive growth and building momentum for future success. One of the easy ways that you can do this is take time to celebrate your wins. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, you understand, you probably relate to this. It is really hard to pause and take time to celebrate the successes that we have. But if you don't take time to do this, you truly don't see all the amazing things that you accomplish. This is why gratitude journals are so huge, so that you can take time each and every day, specifically in the morning, to identify what are things that you're grateful for. It also gives you an opportunity to look back on the day prior to see, man, like what are some cool things that I was able to achieve? And when you start applying this, not just to each day, but do it each week, each month, each quarter, each year, it's amazing when you actually take time to do that inventory, all the cool things that you've been able to accomplish. Now you're truly living in the gain, so that when something good happens, you can truly celebrate it and feel that positive energy inside. Step 2 is identify the but and then reframe. So we talked about the gain mindset. So the opposite of that is living in the gap. So anytime that you use the word but, especially followed by an amazing achievement or accomplishment, you are sliding into that gap mindset. So for example, you hit your highest revenue month ever and you say, oh man, I made the most money I've ever made, but I worked too much, or I had to deal with this client that was a real scumbag. I made the most money I've ever made, but I didn't spend time with my kids. I didn't take a vacation. My wife and I were fighting constantly. Listen, all those things may be true. And I get it. That's not fun. And that definitely takes away from some of the accomplishments that you have achieved. But that gives you an opportunity to reframe and also identify what are some opportunities for growth. So for me, anytime I'm saying something that should be a positive statement and I'm following it with a but, that is a red flag that I am sliding into the gap. So instead of using the word but, we use the word and. So I made the most money I've ever made this month and I worked way too many hours. So what can I do to change that? What do I need to do to improve my workload so that I'm not working too much, that I'm not overly stressed, that I am spending time with my kids, that my wife and I are on the same page? Every experience in life, whether it be personal or professional, gives us an opportunity to learn and to grow. But it's so crucial that you reframe it, that you retrain your brain on how to handle these situations. Step 3 is set new intentions with your own unique process. Listen, as a business owner, there aren't a lot of things that are complete game changers. This is one that I experienced firsthand that completely changed my business. Every single business I've been a part of is having your own unique process. And this is so relevant for somebody that has made a lot and yet feels overworked, because most likely in those situations, they feel that they have to do it all, that everything falls on their shoulders. And that's one of the most dangerous places a business owner or entrepreneur can live, when they think and truly believe that they and only they are the only ones that can make the business thrive. If you truly believe that, you are 100% living in the gap and you're never going to get out. So what exactly is a unique process? When you are working with a client or a customer, most likely you already have a process that you run through. From that introductory meeting to the meetings that go on afterwards, so everything that applies from taking that person from a prospect to a new customer to being hopefully a lifelong customer. The problem is that with most business owners, that process exists, but it only exists up here. They've never taken the time to write it out. They've never taken the time to train somebody else every little thing, every little step, every single nuance that goes into creating the ultimate customer experience. How do you take all of that lives up here and share that with somebody else? The way that you do that is that you document it and you create your own unique process. Because what usually happens is that everything that you do is up here, but you tend to forget all these little things, so that when you actually are trying to delegate this to somebody else, they never actually get it right or meet your expectations because you haven't taken the time to show them or train them. So it does take some work, but once you put that work in, it removes so much off your plate. Because check it, here's what happens. When you have a unique process, not only do your customers have a good understanding of what it looks like to work with you, you are sharing very clear expectations of what you're going to deliver and also what you need from them to make sure that you fulfill whatever product or service that you are delivering. But it eliminates all the confusion and gives them 100% clarity in what it looks like to work with you. On the back end, every single team member is fully aware of every single step. They are also aware of who is in charge of every step, so that when your business grows, when you need to hire new team members, you can slide somebody into that role so they know exactly what they need to do every step of the way. The other amazing byproduct of taking the time to document your own unique process is that when you start reviewing reviewing every single step, every single interaction with a client, every little thing that needs to get done, you start seeing what are the steps in this process that you don't want to do or that you don't even have to be doing anymore, because now you can actually delegate or outsource or remove it off your plate. So now you're not stuck having to do all the things that you just felt that you had to do. So now you're not working more hours than you should. You feel more alive. You actually are enjoying what you're doing, so that whenever you do have your highest revenue month ever, you're not saying, oh, I made the most money ever. But no, you're saying, I made the most money I've ever made this month, and I only worked 10 hours this week. That might be a bit of a stretch, but I'm telling you, I've seen this in action. I've seen when you take the time to create your own unique process, how much more time and how much more of your life you're getting back. Listen, y'all, success is incredible, but it shouldn't come with a but. By focusing on the gain, reframing the challenges as opportunities for growth, and creating or refining your unique process, you can celebrate your wins and build a business that thrives and also fulfills you. I've seen it. I've lived it, I've achieved it, and you can too. All right, y'all, if any of this resonates with you and you want to book a one-on-one discovery call, look for the link in the description. I want to help you get unstuck. This is a perfect fit if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur that's making in that 250 to 500K range, a 30-minute call, and I feel 100% confident I can move you on to the next step. All right, y'all, until next time, peace.